Global growth fears have plagued investors the last few months. The luxury markets and sometimes give us the first clues to a slowdown. Our next guest is well positioned to spot those trends. Join us now, Andy Palmer, CEO of Aston Martin. Andy, since you've come on, you're trying to take this company into the future. Along the way, a couple of bumps in the road, the IPO. You decided that was something worth doing. And you think it's been misunderstood in terms of the stock sell-off. I think the stock's down, how much, 40% since the IPO in October of last year?
Yeah, I mean, people looked at it. I guess people have different appetites for risk. We very much sold the company on the basis of explosive growth. And we see that growth coming on board, particularly with our first SUV, which we unveil at the end of this year. Obviously, the shorts have taken a look and said in the short term we can make some money here, and that's hit the stock, I guess. Nevertheless, management is concentrated on the plan that it's committed to the market. It would bring to market, and that's exactly what we're concentrating on.
The first report as a public company was disappointing. Was that different than the projections during the IPO, or was there something globally that was less favorable?
There was really, first of all, there was the IPO costs, which were, let's say, a little bit misunderstood. And then we had a big issue with one of our suppliers, a lighting supplier, that caused us a huge grouping of the last quarter's production. Those are washed through now, so we're looking good from that point of view. And our first quarter results was a 39% increase in retail year on year.
And those are really, it's a niche car for someone that really, wants an Aston Martin, wants luxury, wants to pay for that luxury. How many total vehicles, for example, in the United States last year?
Well, I mean, this year we'll be a little bit north of 2,000 units.
2,000 units.
So globally, we're about 7,000, 7,100, 7,200. That's more or less where we aim to be. So it's very much the sort of 6 car makers in what we call the luxury grouping, of which we're one. And it's all about exclusivity and rarity.
Was it your initiative to do the SUV? And there's also another SUV that's even more luxury that's coming too, right?
Yes, it was. The SUV was something that I commissioned. It was a fundamental part of me joining the company because it's an absolutely important trend that we have to capture, particularly if you talk about places like the US and China, where perhaps people look to sports cars to be a more SUV shape. And yes, we have a second SUV coming, which is under the name of Lagonda. Lagonda will be the first luxury brand to be 100% battery electric vehicles.
That's pretty amazing too. And in terms of Brexit, you built factories recently in the UK.
Yes, we have. We're building a factory. We're just about to commission it in Wales, and it'll be our large car factory. In spite of Brexit, yes.
How will Brexit affect you? And then we got 30 seconds. You also talk about your electric initiatives too.
That's a lot in 30 seconds.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean.
I guess if we've got 30 seconds, what I'd say is that one of the key initiatives of the company is to also move into our mid-engined range of cars which will compete at the very high level.
Can we show the
why don't you say it? Why don't you look at the picture?
Can we do it?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, let's look at the
important thing here is, yeah, absolutely. Up until today, it's been called AMRB 003, and as of this interview, we're christening it. So this is the Aston Martin Valhalla.
Good name.
A place of
Nordic
of beauty.
And the previous one was the Valkyrie, which I thought you named it after a Tom Cruise movie, but in fact that was also a Norse.
It's all Nordic mythology.
Yes.
Powerful names. The Valkyrie, which is our most extreme car, would obviously take.
Extreme, I love that.
Would
extreme, most expensive? Is that what you're suggesting?
Well, Valkyrie is pretty expensive.
What's the price tag?
If you take the track version, it's about £4 million.
£4 million. How many did you sell of those?
25.
God.
150 of the 001s, which is around about 2.5 million. This car, the Valhalla, is basically around $1 million. So it's a snip, really.
Yeah,
snip.
Yeah, it's a quarter of the.
Should go in.
You see an Aston Martin, you say, when you still say, "Wow, what is that?" I mean, there's no doubt.
That's the reaction we look for. We seek to be the maker of the most beautiful cars in the world.
What is your day car? Like, what do you drive just by day?
I drive a DBS Superleggera. I love it. It's 900 Newton meters, 715 horsepower.
But you drive that like to work?
Yes, into Lidl or into work or to the supermarket.
What happens if you need to like put stuff in the back?
Believe me, you don't need another car.
You can borrow.
If you've got an Aston, you never need another car.
Borrow Andrew's Highlander. Might not quite be, but
if you had, do you have kids?
They can get in the back.
They can get in the back.
It's a 2+2.
It's a 2+2.
You need to cut their legs off, but you know it works.
Oh God, that's horrible.